Hello and good evening. From up north, the Health Secretary, Jeremy Hunt, has stepped in over the row regarding the future of Huddersfield Royal Infirmary. He said plans to downgrade the hospital were not in the interests of local people. Olivia Richwald has our main report.
HRI is here to stay!
For more than 2 years, the people of Huddersfield have fought to keep their accident an emergency, from protests to petitions,
HRI is here to stay!
bus trips to relay races.
2, 1, go!
The campaign has been noisy and unrelenting.
Now it's time to go!
Today's news from Jeremy Hunt is the closest they've come to victory.
We're delighted that this has actually now had a halt put to it, and we hope they'll come back with some much better proposals for the health needs of the people of Huddersfield and Halifax.
Under the proposals, all life-threatening emergency patients would need to travel to Halifax for treatment. It's only 5 miles away, but campaigners say they're congested miles and lives will be lost en route. Campaigners have been urging Jeremy Hunt to intervene. He commissioned an independent review and in a letter wrote that the plans had provoked huge anxiety. He had concerns about the reduction in hospital beds, and it wasn't even clear that the funding was available for capital financing on this scale. He added that the proposals are not in the best interests of people in Calderdale and Greater Huddersfield and asked the NHS to think again.
There's always hard choices to make, but everybody wants that hospital and I feel like people are willing to pay for it.
Moving from here to Halifax, I think it would have an impact, so I think it's positive thinking for everybody around.
Saying that it might stay open is one thing. I think it makes far more sense to make a firm decision and stick with it, and one that works for the local area.
Local MPs have been fighting alongside campaigners. They welcomed today's news but said the battle had not yet been won.
Very pleased, but just with a hint of caution that we need to make sure that the deal we do get and the offer we do get is the best for local people and their healthcare.
Today, the tone among campaigners has been guarded celebration. It doesn't mean the proposals have been scrapped. In fact, the NHS groups behind the plans have said they're going to work on the areas of concern and report back to Jeremy Hunt in 3 months. They added the report acknowledges that no change is not an option and that change is needed to our current 2-site services to protect their safety and quality.
Who's HRI? All HRI!
Tonight, campaigners have gathered at the hospital for another noisy protest. This latest intervention by the Health Secretary has emboldened them. Now they hope to kill off the proposals completely. Olivia Richwald, BBC Look North.
Well, our health correspondent Jamie Coulson has been following the story from the beginning.
Yeah, well, this is very significant. There is no question about that, but it's also important not to get too carried away because of what this actually means. What the Health Secretary has said is that these plans in their current form are not in the best interests of members of the public. And there are 3 key areas where he's asked the NHS to go back and look again. Now, those are the plans around providing more care in the community, the justification for the reduction of hospital beds, and the capital financing, i.e. how is this whole thing going to be paid for. So he's asked the NHS to go back to the drawing board on those areas and look again. And so while campaigners will naturally and understandably claim today as a big victory, it's important to remember that what they've done here really is stop the train, but they haven't fully derailed it yet.
So the big question, what happens next?
Well, what happens next is that he has asked the NHS to go away and look at this. He's asked both the local and national NHS to look at it. He's also asked them to work in tandem with the Local Authorities Scrutiny Committee, which is the body that referred it to the Health Secretary in the first place, and they'll report back within 3 months. But what's also really important to remember in all of this is that the original reason why this whole review was brought in the first place hasn't gone away. Increasing demand on hospitals, unsustainable services, and shortages of staff in key areas like A&E. Now, these are problems that everyone admits need to be fixed. But unfortunately for the NHS, the plans they've put on the table today have been knocked back.
In other news, police investigating